live. Okay. Well, do it live. I'll write it and we'll do it live.
So to get that perfect barbecue, you use wood. Are you sure it's safe? Whatever. We put the lighter fluid on, strike your match, and oh! Should we call the fire department? That might be a good idea.
And welcome to the Really Big Barbecue Central Show. This is the show that talks about all things important to the world of barbecue and grilling. The show originating from Bomb City, USA, Cleveland, Ohio, the barbecue capital of the North Coast. I am your program host, Greg Rempe. Happy to have you aboard here on your Tuesday evenings, a live fire, fun, and frivolity show. If you would like to get in contact with the show this evening, or you would like to follow the show during off-show hours, here's how you do all that.
You can get in touch with the show by sending an email to Greg at thebbqcentralshow.com. Follow us on all the social media channels at BBQ Central Show. And be sure to subscribe to the show podcast feed on your favorite podcast platform.
Anything else you want to find out about the show can be found at the main website, thebbqcentralshow.com. And here's what's happening on the show this evening. Coming up in about 12 minutes from now, it is the co-creator of How to Barbecue Right and our monthly guest, Malcom Reed, joining us. And then, after Malcolm, we have, as you might know, the start of the baseball season. And if you smell it in the air, that means it can only mean my next two guests after Malcom Reed, Len Aberman and Jeff Cohen from Baseball and Barbecue, or BBQ, depending on how you say it. We will talk about the first week and change of the 2026, which will go, the 2026 baseball season. We will talk about their beloved Mets. We might talk about my semi-beloved Guardians. And we'll also talk about some other hot baseball topics, some new things introduced this season as well. So loving to get the experts of baseball and BBQ's opinion on both live fire cooking and the baseball world, Jeff and Len from Baseball and Barbecue. That'll bring a close to the first hour. Then we will move to the second hour, where we will find second hour of the first Tuesday guest at 10:14, Sam the Cooking Guy. Yes. So plenty to chat with Sam about, not the least of which was the most recent YouTube video where he made the most recent, how does it work down in the, look, I'm not a golf guy by any stretch of the imagination. I believe that there's a tradition unlike any other where the winner last year sets a menu. I don't know who won it last year, but whoever did sets the menu for all the previous winners that want to come down, take part in a dinner or something along these lines. And Sam somehow caught wind or got an advance copy. I think the Masters starts this week, maybe in a few days. And he made whatever the Masters dinner is supposed to be. And, you know, Sam takes liberties and likes to amp it up and pump it up and add his own little unique flares to it. So we'll talk a little bit about that and amongst other cooking topics as well. And then we'll close out the show this evening. And I'm only leaving it here with special guest. So you're gonna have to stick around if you want to see who the special guest is at 35 past the second hour. So that's how the show is laying out for you here this evening. A Malcom Reed and then a Jeff and Len from Baseball Barbecue first hour. Sam the Cooking Guy, second hour, and special guest coming out of the bullpen, no pun intended, as we had some baseball talk just a few minutes ago. Don't forget, you can follow me socially at these handles and or platforms, Instagram, the Twitter, the TikToks, the Snapchats, and the LinkedIns, all with the handle at BBQ Central Show. And, of course, we are saying good evening to those of you watching the show tonight through one of our video streaming platforms. You can go to facebook.com/BBQ Central Show. Or you can watch on YouTube, which is youtube.com/@BBQ Central Show, where you might have found the Would You Rather YouTube poll question of the week. And the comments are coming in fast and furious. And the voting is about where I thought it might be. We're asking this question to all YouTube watching members and all guests this evening. And it goes a little something like this. Would you rather see one of your parents having an affair or see your spouse having an affair? It seems like an equally bad question on all fronts. And currently 67% of you are saying you would rather see your parents have an affair. By the way, it might come as no surprise that given the choice between the two, I would rather see my parents have an affair, one of my parents having an affair on the other versus my spouse having an affair on me. And perhaps the divide is either you aren't in any relationship and you're still like under the wing of your parents and you couldn't possibly fathom that your parents would have an affair on one another, or you've been through the marriage thing. It has failed already on your end. Perhaps your spouse has cheated on you, and the only relationship that you could look to because your parents were still together. Oh my, I couldn't imagine that happening. Or you have, did I say in no relationship whatsoever? Of course. So always interested on where the thought process is on that. We've already bumped up to a 75% would rather see their parents having an affair than their spouse having an affair on them. Results from the YouTube poll question of what would be 2 weeks ago. Would you rather be covered in bees or rather covered in spiders? 71% of you said you would rather be covered in bees. And 29% of you said you would rather be covered in spiders. I aligned with the minority on that one, just shy of 30%. I would much rather take the risk on spiders. Again, thought process there. Spiders might not sting or bite. There's a really good chance bees will sting. And there's a lot of bees that could cover one's human body. So I will forego the potential stings for the potential non-venomous spider bites and or spider stings. Do spiders sting? I think they just bite. So just my thoughts. Anxious. I can't wait to get to Malcolm to ask him the Would You Rather YouTube poll question of the week along with many other guests. I can't wait to ask the 35 past the second hour guest this question. Wow, you're going to have to stay tuned for that. So we'll start here this evening, and we'll do it quickly because the open has run long. But I am happy to report, and it is beyond a shadow of a doubt, that this year's most revered, most commented on, and most greatly accepted debut guest appearance has come from none other than Ali Khan. So we didn't have the show last Tuesday because we were out of town. Not we, but myself was out of town as I was. So bonus week, so I didn't really miss a week necessarily. I did my 4 Tuesdays. But the youngest Marley had her cosmetology board certification exam. That's a whole day event that was taking place early Wednesday morning in Columbus, Ohio. So instead of getting up at 4:30 in the morning and making the run down to C-Bus on Wednesday and then back up, we went down Tuesday later in the afternoon, took in a little Jeff Ruby Steakhouse dinner before the big test, and then She did wildly successful on the cosmetology board exam, so very good on that. But the Tuesday show before that was the debut of Ali Khan. I would say most of you were like, oh, yeah, that's the guy from Cheap Eats, from the food, as he was kind of giving us his backstory. A lot of you were like, oh, yeah, I used to watch that guy. A lot of you were like, hey, I used to watch that guy, but guy on your television screen doesn't really look like the guy that was on TV 5 years ago, 7 years ago, 10 years ago. No offense to Ali, but back then, yeah. Now, lean. Really cut it back. I mean, I was looking at Ali, and I'm like, that's the same guy? So he has found his physical fitness. He's taking pride in that. And many of you loved the insider's peek at Food Network and Cooking Channel. His take on where TV is right now and what it takes to get a show on TV right now. Not necessarily the same as it was. So we'll be looking to have Ali Khan back on, perhaps with regularity, but that's up to his schedule and not mine. All right, Malcom Reed is in the green room. We'll get to him here in just one moment. But before we do that, we will talk about the Primo Ceramic Grill. What do we love about ceramic cookers? We love that they're fuel efficient, number one. Yes, we love that you can achieve low and slow temperatures in them. We love that you can get rip-roaring hot if you want to do that high-heat grilling of steaks and other thin cuts, or anything in between, smoke roasting. You can do indirect with the diversion plates if you want to. Of course, the real ability to do true two-zone cooking. We know two-zone cooking is very important to both professional and backyard cooks alike. It's the best way to manage a fire and cook with confidence. However, getting a two-zone fire in a round ceramic cooker is not very realistic. Why? Indeed, because it's round. Enter Primo, the game-changing oval design. The shape gives you the ability to execute that two-zone setup that you desire. It also gives you the other ceramic grill benefits as well. When you break it down, there's more than 60 different ways to cook on this bad boy, so you're only limited by your culinary imagination. Don't forget, they have all the accessories that you might want, from Primo Grill rotisserie accessories to the pizza grill accessories and to everything in between. It will complete your Primo Grill cooking experience, and they keep coming out with more and more accessories, so stay tuned for those. Only sold through dealers. Go to primogrill.com, find the dealer nearest to you. Here's the bottom line. Best ceramics in the biz. We know this. Patented technology, yes. True two-zone cooking capabilities and multiple sizes of ovals. Yes. And yes. Doesn't get any better than that. Who's ready for the Primo in their life? We're getting here in the springtime. We have to be ready for Primos. Primogrill.com. Follow them on Facebook and Insta. And we're back with Malcom Reed right after this. Stick around.
You're listening to the Barbecue Central Show. Broadcasting live from the Barbecue Central Show studios in Cleveland, Ohio. You're listening to the Barbecue Central Show. Once again, here's your host, Greg Rempe.
Welcome back. This segment is proudly sponsored by Fireboard, makers of innovators behind the Fireboard 2, the Fireboard Pro, the Fireboard Spark, the Fireboard Beacon, and the wireless Fireboard Pulse. Experience total control from all devices from anywhere in the world with Fireboard app. Discover more by visiting fireboard.com or call 816-945-2232. The great folks over at Fireboard. All right, joining me now is my first Tuesday of the month regularly scheduled guest, 14 past the first hour for the last 678 years and counting. It is our pal, Malcom Reed. Hey, Malcom.
What's happening, Greg?
Is your mic on?
Yeah, I think. Can you hear me?
I feel like I'm getting the computer mic and not the Malcom Reed dulcet tones.
Man, give me 1 second. How about that? I'm sorry.
Yeah, no worries.
See if I can figure it out.
All right, I'll take the 1 second here. Give me the thumbs up. Malcom Reed has been in the green room for 5 or 6 minutes before the show actually took off. Malcom always on time. I don't remember the last time we even had a mic issue. When Malcom has been on location, he went and bought a Samson Q2U so he could sound studio quality, even on remote. So we certainly appreciate that. All right, while we're waiting for Malcom to go through this, we can go to a couple show emails that have trickled in. Obviously, the aforementioned Ali Khan got a lot of email making his debut appearance 2 weeks ago. So we'll continue to try and book and rebook him through the course of 2026. Matt writing into the show, hey, Greg, it's been a while. I'm still sporting the hell out of the T-shirt and been through many McAuliffe reds and blacks as well. You have opened my eyes to the lifestyle of premium hand-rolled cigars. Ordered some McAuliffe Whites the other day. They dropped, but still prefer the black and the red. Keep up the great show, man. And that is Matt. All right, Matt. Well, I haven't gotten my hands on the white yet, Matt, but I have an email ready to send out to Amanda that will be requesting some of those whites. So we'll see if I am in agreement with your palate or not as we try Malcom Reed one more time. Can you hear me, Malcom?
I got you, man. Is that any better?
Yeah, no, it's the same. You might have to disconnect and reconnect in from the internet.
Let me try that and see what happens.
Okie dokie. No problem. So, Matt, good for you. I'm wondering, Matt, did you find that the McAuliffe was either not as flavorful, not talking about strength, or was it not as strong? It does appear, according to Amanda, that the black and the red would be like strongest 1, 2, respectively, black and red. But I remember hearing on the Cigar Authorities podcast, as Amanda was on there unveiling the white through two guys, they originally had total exclusivity in those first number of days as it launched, because they're a great partner of cigar makers in general, but of course McAuliffe. And I'm wondering, because they said in the show, Amanda was like, well, this will be our lightest offering, our least strong, not as strong offering as some of the other ones, especially black and red. This would be on the other end, because you remember, as Amanda was talking, black was supposed to be the strongest, but then the white was supposed to be the most mild, black and white, so two ends of the spectrum, and then you had the colors, or the other colors filling in the spectrum in between the black and the white, or the alpha and the omega. So, the guys, the experts, to include Mr. J, said, you know, maybe this one isn't a 2 or a 3. Maybe this one is more like 4 or 5. Perhaps our pal Johnny Maggs, who is in the YouTube chat, might be able to tell us if he has had a McAuliffe White and where that ranks for him. Also have another email from the guy that invented the most excellent theme song for the show, Heath Bennett. He wrote, "Get in the Smoke," if you recall. Hello, Greg. Fenway Park also, so this is going back, the subject line, Aramark vending. If you recall, in successive weeks, I put the wood to Rocket Arena and subsequently Aramark Vending for what is a travesty of food in that professional arena downtown. So Heath Bennett writes in the subject line, Aramark Vending, and it says, hello, Greg. Fenway Park also uses Aramark for its concessions. Now, if you're unfamiliar, Aramark is a huge food business and company, and they do a lot of this kind of, let's say, catering. By the way, Johnny Maggs has not had a white yet, so we will reserve judgment on that. But Aramark does this huge catering. So hold on, we'll go back. I might save that for hour number 2. We'll see if Malcolm has been able to readjust here. Malcolm?
Is it working now?
It is not, but that's all right. We're going to roll with it. Why not? I mean, for all the times you've shown up and you sound great, as I told everybody else, you even went so far as to get a mobile rig. So when you're out of studio, you sound like you are in the How to Barbecue Right studio. So this time, which is obviously no fault of yours, I'm sure it's, some kind of internet hiccup. This is where we're at. So we have to get to this first and foremost. Oh, my goodness.
All right.
The Would You Rather YouTube poll question of the week, and we're asking everybody, including all guests, Malcolm. Would you rather see one of your parents having an affair or see your spouse having an affair?
Oh, man, that's not fair, Greg.
It's not.
Come on,
it is
man.
not. It's not fair.
Is this like an indecent proposal situation where I'm going to get a little reward if I pick my spouse? I'm gonna have to go parents, man. I don't want to, but God.
Yes. And now it is growing even further. 88% of the YouTube voting public is saying they would rather have their parents do the cheating than their spouse do their cheating. It was 56% when the show started, and it has grown widely in the parental portion of the odds here. So wondering if it'll make it back to 50-50 or close to 50-50 as it usually does in these type of questions. Well, I've never had this kind of question before, but usually in the Would You Rather questions, they seem to start out kind of wide one way or the other and then start to work their way back through the rest of the show. So appreciate you answering that very difficult question, and I align with you on the parents' part. So I want to take a couple minutes here. We got about 10 or so to talk about the best advice that you have when you are confronted with the question, I'm in the market for a grill. And I think you have a very unique perspective on this. Obviously, you are who you are on the YouTube channel side and then the associated various social media platforms. But you have had your hands on any number of cookers over the years, well before you got into social media influencing the YouTube stuff. I mean, you were a competition guy. It was part of the blood. You grew up in it. So cookers were around you just organically. So what is your advice if somebody comes up to you and says, Malcolm, 2026 is the year that I'm either going to buy my first cooker or I'm going to add to the arsenal?
The first thing I start with is the budget, man. How much money are you wanting to spend? And then when they kind of have an idea of how much you want to spend, what are you going to use it for? Is this going to be something that needs to be dual purpose? Is it just for smoking? Is it just for grilling? And then, what's your skill level? I mean, how much do you know? Are you a rookie? Is this your first pit? Have you been cooking? You want to upgrade? All these things are factors, that go into it. I mean, I steer people, somebody out the gate that's never really started, I say go get a Weber kettle. Don't spend a lot of money on a grill if you don't know if you're going to like it. Learn fire management. Learn to cook on that Weber kettle. You can get one for $150. Sometimes a little cheaper than that. You catch them on closeout sales into season. But from there, I would probably recommend a ceramic grill if the budget fits. I mean, I love the Primos. I'm a Primo guy. But and then also for entry level people, I think about pellet grills just because they're versatile. They're easy. They're the set it and forget it to the smoking world. You can't really grill on them as good, but you can do some stuff. And there's to get into the higher stuff, the stick burners, things like that. Those are for advanced people that are fixing to drop a lot of money. I usually don't steer people to those right out the gate. That's for the guy that's had 2 or 3 smokers. He's got some proficiency in it. That's just my thoughts on process when someone asks me that question.
So in a stick burner environment, do they just need to have time on Weber bullets, or let's just call them traditional live fire cookers, whether they're charcoal or wood or both related. Some of those upright barrel cookers, or I mean, I don't know if they're nearly as popular as they were when we were kind of getting into it. When you were doing the newsletter back when I first started the podcast, but you had guys like Stump Smokers, Spice Wine Cookers. You used to run a company, or used to run a brand. What was the name of that? Backwoods. Didn't you used to run Backwoods?
Yeah. Absolutely. When they manufactured those, I definitely did.
Those insulated cookers. I don't know if do you feel like they've kind of fallen off the cliff here over the last 10 years?
Well, you don't see very many people cooking on them. I know that company's no longer in business, but there's some people that try to keep it going and still make some of them, but you don't see them very often. Those were real specialty cookers that did fantastic jobs, but there was it was a water cooker, and people kind of got away from that. They wanted to go to a drier heat. They wanted to, they liked the option of the elongated chamber, I guess you would call it, or the stick burner style instead of that vertical style. I don't see a lot of the vertical stuff anymore. I mean, you still got some of the commercial stuff like your Southern Prides, your Old Hickories, things like that are kind of on a vertical platform, but they're most of those add rotisserie to it too, so they're a little more advanced than that. But I mean, you just don't. You don't see those old styles as often anymore. They've kind of been replaced with the drums. I would say the drums probably one of the most popular side on the competition side that you see out there, just because of the convenience and how easy it is to take multiple drums, and they're just not that expensive.
So the person thinking they want to graduate into the stick burner, these are some people that have at least some kind of real live fire management under their belt, and maybe they're seeing this as like the next challenge, and they also understand potential cost in this.
Yeah. I think it's if you've got that mindset, you can find an entry level stick burner like at your sporting goods stores or Oklahoma Joe's or those type pits that they're not the big full scale pull behind models that you see out at competitions, but they're still. You're gonna have to have a learning curve there of how to build the fire in that offset pit and how it's going to flow through and how your meat's going to cook, where your hot spots are. There's still all of that learning curve is there that you have to learn on those, and it's even a little more tricky on those lesser expensive models. I'm not going to call them inexpensive because you still drop a chunk of change on them, but there's still a pretty good learning curve on them.
I'm wondering if you believe, because I've heard it through a couple different folks, and they've owned a number of different, very reputable, like real offset cookers. So you're talking Lang's, Close's, Gator Pits. You're dumping $2,000 easy into whatever the smallest offset cooker is these days, given price of steel and all this other stuff. So let's say a 36-inch Lang, it might run you $1,800, $1,900, $2,000 after you ship it up there. I've heard it's, so this is the most cost efficient, but this one is actually a little bit harder to run if you get out to 42, if you get out to 48, if you get out to 56 inches. The extra space in the cooking chamber helps with how you're running the fire in the actual fire boxes. Is that something that you have had experience with?
I've seen that happen to where some of those cookers, to me, it always has to do with the moisture that the meat's putting off in the pit. And you want it kind of ideal. So, like, if you don't have hardly any meat in it, it's going to cook totally different than it would if you had it 3/4 of the way full. So most of the time for me, it's not that there's, that extra room makes the pit cook better. It just gives you the option to put a little more meat to get the moisture better in the pit, which makes it cook better, makes the product better in the end. So these are things that the average guy's never going to think about when you're cooking something. They're just wanting to fire something up and, put some meat on and get it done and have it turn out. So you're not really thinking about the science behind it or why that pit works or what would make it be optimal.
So if we go back to the everyday ham and egger that's going out in the back just to fire up and cook, when we talk about budget, how do you steer somebody into it? I mean, obviously they're bringing you a number, but I mean, yeah, I think knowing what we know, there are levels of budget that they might want to consider depending on the cooker.
I think so. most of the time, I'm once I know how much somebody's going to spend, what are they primarily going to use it for? They really want to cook some really good barbecue and have an authentic flavor. That's what I'm going to say. Well, look, you could go to a drum. There's several different drums out there, and you can spend a couple grand on a drum if you want a Cadillac of a drum. But you can build one yourself really easy too, and spend less than $200 on it. So I think that's like, for me, the ultimate flavor. If I'm talking just smoking, I'm probably going to say go get you a drum and learn to cook on that, because I mean it's going to, once you learn how to build a fire and you can put wood in it, you can almost run it like a stick burner. I mean you're actually building a fire and you're adding some wood to it. Now they're super efficient. They're way more efficient than a stick burner. You're going to get long burn times on them, but the flavor is just unmatched in one.
When we talk about just grills versus some kind of barbecue pit, do you have brands that you like specifically?
Weber. I don't see why. I mean, I've got multiple of them, and that's the grill that I really learned to cook on was a Weber kettle. And it's because that's what my parents had growing up. I remember a Weber. We had a bullet too. My dad had one of those, and we used it. He never got really proficient at it, but he got to where he could use it. And it wasn't until I got later on in my cooking career, I could buy the adapters for my Weber kettle, pretty much turn it into a bullet. So they have, the Weber is really versatile, and I'm not paid by Weber. I'm not a spokesman for them or anything. I just think it's one of the better built grills in the U.S. And there's a lot you can do with that grill if you learn on it. Now I love PKs. That's an old classic grill. That's a straight up grill. You can smoke on those too. You learn how to do it. You learn to build the fire right, cook on the offset side. But there's for the money, I just don't think you're going to beat a Weber.
Do you have a take on gas grills?
They have a place, definitely. I'm a fan of those Napoleon gas grills. I think they make some sweet grills. The Weber, I mean, there we go again. Weber's been making that Genesis model for a long time.
Yeah.
I think there's definitely a place for them. I don't use one very often, but man, it's something to be said. If you come home and you can just step out back, cut that grill on, go to cooking within 5-10 minutes. You didn't have to build a fire. You didn't have to worry about getting your vents right, the airflow, and all that stuff, and waiting on it to cook. You can just go to cooking. Now, are you cooking barbecue? I don't call that barbecue. That's grilling. So,
were you out of town last weekend, or did you have like some event that you were taking part in, or is that this coming weekend?
Man, my schedule's been crazy, Greg.
Yeah.
I was most of last week. I was out in Texas chasing turkeys, and then I came home and had to go do an event up in the Ozarks in Arkansas. Yeah, we some of my friends have a store up there called the Mount Olive Mercantile, and we did music at the Merc for the first kind of inaugural kickoff of the season. And we cooked barbecue for it and raised some money for the local church there. And then this week I've got people coming in doing some videos, and I've got another hunt coming up, and I'm going back to Texas the following week for another week to do some more video stuff. So this spring's been crazy.
What hunting are you doing? You said you did turkey. What's next on the agenda?
Turkey,
More turkey? More turkey?
It's still turkey till the end of the month.
You eat that?
Oh, it's fantastic.
Oh,
yes,
yeah?
We cooked a bunch of it last weekend. Yeah.
So,
Yes,
how does it compare to a Thanksgiving turkey, or all the same?
So really, we just eat the breast.
Yeah.
And it's different. It's a lot lean. Turkey's lean anyway, but wild turkey's especially leaner. But man, when you marinate it, some pickle juice, a little buttermilk and hot sauce, and then you batter it up and drop it in some hot grease. Man, it makes the best turkey poppers you ever had. Just think of fried turkey nuggets. That's kind of what it is. And I do it all different kinds of ways. I've done them like Texas style, where you kind of do salt and pepper season, put it on the smoker, cook it, wrap it up with a little butter, and get it real tender. And I've cooked them a bunch of different ways. I mean, made fajitas with it, ground some of it, made some burger. I mean, it's just a really good meat, and they're really fun to chase.
How many have you knocked down so far?
This year, 3 so far.
Yeah.
I've got 3 more I want to get, hopefully. I got 2 tags in Texas, and I need to get 1 more in Mississippi, and I'll probably call it quits.
All right, last question here. Apologize for the abridged segment here, but we'll make up for it next month. So 2 weeks ago, we had the embedded correspondence. This was a question, and we figured go right to the source because it was about you. 100% yes or 100% no. Malcom Reed will cook a barbecue cup championship qualifier in 2026.
Right now, it's not on the schedule.
Oh, we'll take that as the 100% no at the moment. But it could change, maybe.
It could change, maybe.
Yeah. All right. So I think I might have been the only one that voted no, and 75% of the guys thought Malcom was going to knock the rust off and certainly at least put one hat in the ring for potential $1 million. Yeah. So we'll say I'm right for now, but we'll see how the rest of the year pans out. Malcom, always appreciate the time. We'll work out the tech issues before next month, and we'll see you in May.
I apologize, Greg. Thanks for having me, man. See you next month.
All right. There it is. Malcom Reed, who says I'm right currently on the 100% assurity question from a couple weeks ago. Will Malcom take part in a Barbecue World Cup qualifier? It's currently no, boys. But not a full no. We got a bunch of other ones ready to go. All right, we have Len and we have the Jeff ready to go. Before we get to them, let's talk quickly about Big Papa Smokers. The competition circuit is on fire already. Elevate your barbecue game with championship flavor from Big Papa Smokers. Ensure your pantry is stocked with the essentials like the award-winning Sweet Money and the Little Louie's seasoned salt. Don't let the smoke roll without being prepared. Whether you're aiming for a grand championship trophy or just mastering your backyard grill, Big Papa delivers award-winning taste. Absolutely. Get your flavor advantage now at BigPapaSmokers.com and use code REMPY26 at checkout for free shipping. Exclusions apply, so be sure to check on that. Big Papa Smokers, real barbecue, real results. And that's code REMPY26, all one word, REMPE 26, at checkout for free shipping. It's baseball and barbecue, or barbecue, right after this.
You're listening to the Barbecue Central Show. Howard Stern, Jim Rome, Dan Patrick, and Greg Rempe. The Mountain Rushmore of talk show entertainment. Now, let's get back to the Barbecue Central Show.
Hey, we thank Malcom Reed for joining us last segment. This portion of the show is proudly sponsored by the Pit Barrel Cooker. It is the most unbelievable outdoor cooking device on the planet, available in 3 sizes with a variety of accessories. Regardless of your skill level, from beginner to professional, this is a must-have cooker to add to your collection. Go to pitbarrelcooker.com and let them know the Barbecue Central Show sent you. Joining me now are 2 guys that love to talk about my 2 favorite things when I'm not talking to them. It's baseball, it's barbecue, it's Len and Jeff from the Baseball and BBQ podcast. Gents, appreciate you joining me here this evening. And if you don't know, it's Len Aberman, or should I say Hollywood Len Aberman, directly below me, and our pal, the old coot Jeff Cohen, below, and caddy corner to the right if you are looking at your screen, or directly to the right of Len Aberman. Guys, appreciate you joining me. We have a Would You Rather YouTube poll question of the week that we're asking everybody, including all guests. Len, we'll start with you, and I apologize in advance. Would you rather see one of your parents having an affair or see your spouse having an affair?
Wow. Wasn't Malcom great? He was terrific.
He was great.
All right. He was so good.
Yes.
Pit barrel cookers, they're the best.
That's right. But we're going to need an answer.
Oh, wow. I'm gonna go with my spouse because I can forgive that.
Wow.
Whoa.
Okay. Wow. All right. Jeff, would you rather see your parents having an affair or your spouse having an affair?
Wasn't Malcolm great?
Malcolm was great. Absolutely.
This is the no-win scenario. This is
That's
the,
right. I did apologize in
we did this.
advance.
Yes. So I would go. Well, since Mrs. Averman is available, I'm gonna say my wife.
Yeah.
I'm gonna say my parents. I'm gonna have my parents.
All right. Well, Jeff, you will be happy to know that 91% of the YouTube voting public, including me, would rather see their parents catching one of their parents having an affair than having their spouse have an affair. I can't believe it, Len. Like, you would rather walk in on your wife than stumbling across one of your parents?
Oh, I'm going to witness her having the affair. I didn't realize I was actually
Do
going
you
to
understand
see
the
it.
question of see one of your parents having an affair or see your spouse having it? You just stopped listening, I think. Would you rather
I just
take
don't
your
wanna s-
you
I
want to
don't-
change your answer?
I don't want to see my 80-year-old parents doing it.
Yeah, I mean, that's... boy. I'll just stick with... I don't... Yeah, let's stick with the answer. That way,
Wow-wee.
it'll never be 100%.
Holy moly.
I can't be the only vote that said...
No, you're not. But, well, wow.
Exactly.
Just as we speak, maybe you allowed people to break through some kind of glass ceiling. We're now 17% of the YouTube voting public are saying they would rather see their spouse have an affair than their parents have an affair. But parents are certainly boat racing this poll at the moment. All right, enough of nonsense, guys. Let's talk about something important like baseball. I didn't know if you knew it, guys, but we're a week and almost 2 weeks, actually, into the baseball season here. I'm still unsure why we decide to have a season this long, and if we're gonna have it this long, as in number of games, why not just compress it even more? Can't we start, Jeff? Can't we start baseball season mid-May or perhaps June 1st? Can we not do it?
I don't think you can do it that late. Mid-April is fine. I remember it starting in mid-April, and it went till September. It ended in September, didn't end in October, and the World Series was done by the second week of October. But those days are long gone.
What happened? Where did we lose?
I don't think we lost anything. I think the greed in the game just got bigger and bigger. It's all about the hundreds, all about the change there.
It's all about the shekels.
The shekels, thin
Show me the
gilders.
shekels.
Show me the thin gilders. Len, do you think that it is? So here's the other one. Let me give me your opinions. I'll give you my take on this, Len, and then you can tell me if I'm right or wrong. For any team, for us, and I'm saying you guys, we're Northeast. I guess I'm technically Midwest, but I mean, whatever. It's still cold as hell. And then, I don't know, let's go out as far west as, let's say, Kansas City. Everybody that has teams in that region, so Kansas City, so that's taking into account Minnesota and Michigan and Cleveland and Pennsylvania and New York. You can do the geography yourself the rest of the way if you want. All those teams have to play either far out west, Pacific Northwest, and down, or into the Sun Belt and over to Florida, maybe up to the Carolinas. But you can't go north until we hit at least mid-May. Do you think that's realistic?
Again,
No?
mid-May is late. Mid-May is
on.
late, but
It's April
Wait.
and it's 29.
I know. Well, the Mets were supposed to play two night games today, being Tuesday and Wednesday.
Yes.
Both games were changed. The time was changed to 4:00 because we're going to get extreme 20-degree weather in the evening. So absolutely, they should start the season out. There's enough teams, domes, West Coast, warm weather. But mid-May is a little extreme. But I agree. You could May 1st.
May 1st.
May 1st. May 1st. May 1st. May 1st. May 1st. May 1st. May 1st. May 1st. May 1st. May 1st. May 1st. May 1st. May 1st. May 1st. May 1st. May 1st. May 1st. May 1st. May 1st. May 1st. May 1st. May 1st. May 1st. May 1st. May 1st. May 1st. May 1st. May 1st. May 1st. May 1st. May 1st. May 1st. May 1st. May 1st. May 1st. May 1st. May 1st. May 1st. May 1st. May 1st. May 1st. May 1st. May 1st. May 1st. May 1st. May 1st. May 1st. May 1st. May 1
You can start in Toronto. You can start in Milwaukee. They have domes.
Oh,
Play
right.
there.
Yeah. Domes precluded from the south or far west. If you have a dome, we can play in a dome. All right. Well, we'll have to talk to whoever the commissioner. Who's the commissioner these days?
Manfred. A guy named Rob Manfred.
Can we go? Greg, can we go back to the YouTube question? Can I pick spiders? I would rather be covered with bees and spiders.
And spiders, yes. All right, fair enough.
Both.
Len, your take on the first week or so of Mets baseball?
Oh, I mean, Mets baseball, I'm happy with. They won today. They're 7-4. Baseball season in general, I think, has started off well. It's been, no shocks as far as the teams are playing well. The Dodgers are, of course, the Dodgers. Yankees are the Yankees.
I'm just asking you to evaluate the Mets, not anybody
the Mets,
else. I'll get into that.
It's fine. They're 7-4. Soto is down. He's hurt.
For how long?
Considering a couple weeks, supposedly 2 to 3 weeks with the calf strain. So considering that, and considering the fact they did lose, would they lose 3 in a row? I think. And now they're 7-4. I'm okay with that.
All right, Jeff, where are you at with your beloved Mets?
I think they're doing pretty good. I mean, that 3-game losing streak was very frustrating because they were winnable games. They lost in just terrible fashion, but that's to be expected because they are the Mets. But 7-4, I'll take it for now.
Jeff, teams to be on the lookout for in 2026.
Oh, well, Milwaukee is always very tough. They have personnel changes all the time, and they're very, very good. The Cubs, I think the Cubs will be pretty good this year as well. In the American League, you got to look out for the Boston Red Sox. I think they're going to be an up and coming, and the Kansas City Royals. I think they're also a very good, underrated team. Now, I'll even put Baltimore in there because they have our beloved Pete Alonso.
I don't want to point out the obvious here, Jeff, but the Cleveland Guardians won the Central Division last year. Was that a fluke and there's no way we're sniffing it this year, or did the other teams just build back better?
No, the Cleveland Guardians are a very good team, and no matter what, they are always in the mix. They came out of nowhere last year and they won the division. They took it from the Detroit Tigers, so they're very good, and they have a great rookie this year. Guy's leading the league in home runs.
Yes, his name is Chase DeLauter. Of course, we knew that.
DeLauter, yeah.
Chase DeLauter is what I call him. All right, Len, teams you think we should be on the lookout for in 2026?
Yeah, I think we should watch out for Detroit. Cleveland should watch out for Detroit. I think with Screwball and thank you.
Yeah.
With the other pitcher, they have a 1.
Framber.
What? Yeah, Framber Valdez. So they've got quite the 1-2 combination there. I think Baltimore is a team to look out for. I think Cincinnati is going to do some damage this year. Maybe even Pittsburgh. That should be interesting. I mean, the Cubs are right now they're in last, but they're 4-6. You can't do anything based on 2 weeks. But the Cubs, that's going to be a good division. And of course, the Dodgers, I think, are going to run away with it. But we shall see. Barring injuries, Dodgers are going to run away.
All right. So that's by the way, Len, nice shirt. As I'm just seeing that. Staying with you real quick, you would say then Dodgers is your pick to win it all in 2026 as we sit here in April?
Yeah. I would take, you could have the field, and I will take the Dodgers.
Field, all right. Jeff, will you take the Dodgers and then over the field?
It's too easy taking the Dodgers. You got to go right here. The Mets, baby.
You are such a homer.
Homer.
Wow. I mean, they have given you no hope to believe that they could do that. But all right, this year is different. From a guy who lives, all right, the next season is going to be the best season coming up in the city that I think made that saying popular. Jeff, your take on the ABS system being implemented in Major League Baseball this year?
Well, it's pretty good. I think one umpire in particular, C.B. Buckner, who just can't get anything right. I think he's going to be the must-see umpire to go to the game because he's always getting them wrong. I think if you should use it all the time. Just use. Why challenge it? Just have it all the time. Strike, ball. Nobody's going to complain. You know what it is. But they want to put some strategy in it, so I can see why they want to do it that way.
Len, your take on ABS?
They should use it all the time. I think right now what it does is it shows up the umpires. Try calling 100-mile-an-hour pitch, a ball or a strike, and they are pretty accurate. Yeah, okay. You look at the ABS and it's slightly out of the square. They either you use it all the time or you don't use it at all. I think this whole it just shows up the umpires. And I don't like it unless they do it all the time.
Do you think that this is a slow roll into doing it all the time? Next season, we're going to robo-ump, and so there'll be a behind-the-plate umpire, and they'll get buzzed if it's a strike and no buzz if it's a ball, and then they just do their hand signs, but they're there to call the out if there's a play at home plate.
Yeah, eventually. You can't put you're not putting the horse back in the barn. You're not putting the toothpaste back in the tube. Once it's out, you've got, if you remember instant replay, when it first came about, was only supposed to, I think it was home run balls. It was supposed to be. Now, instant replay is used on all the plays. Yeah, this is something that eventually, maybe not next year, but eventually they will have ABS full time.
All right, Jeff.
But
when you think?
Len,
Go ahead.
I was going to say Len loves his cliches, but you know what? They're still going to need the umpires no matter what because with technology, something's wrong with the wiring or the internet goes down or something. You're going to need the umpires there anyway.
Mm.
Yeah, I didn't say you're not going to need the umpires. I'm just saying that the ABS system is going to be a permanent thing, and I do love my cliches.
By the way, fun fact, my son does work for MLB, and he does work with the ABS system.
Really?
He does.
I figured you would be ready to take a steaming shit all over ABS whenever you get a chance, Jeff. I'm shocked.
I could do a lot of stuff, other things.
So, what do you think needs to change other than ABS then? What would you like to see? Wait. Let me ask a better question. Has your stance changed on the extra innings runner starting at second? My
stance hasn't changed, but Mets won today with it, so I'm okay for today. Jeez. But I would like to see that go. That's a terrible word. That's a terrible rule. It's a terrible rule.
Len, have you changed at all?
Well, I've always, I don't like it, and I know you do.
Yeah.
Okay.
Big fan.
I don't like it, but if you're going to do it, at least put it in, because the whole thing is it's meant to shorten what could be a very long extra inning situation. Just have them put it into play. The game's 9 innings. Give them at least 1 or 2 innings without it. Then put it in. I just think...
but you've had 9 innings to score or to break a tie.
Putting a runner on second base, that it goes against everything that baseball is about.
Don't you feel though when you're watching it, and whoever wants to jump in first can tell me I'm a shithead, but don't you feel like when you're watching it, remove your personal feelings from the game if possible as you're answering this, immediately it's exciting, immediately every pitch is more important, immediately every at-bat is more important, because that guy with no outs could score on the next hit. And all of a sudden, that team is up 1 run. Now, certainly, you get a chance to come back in, score, or win it in the bottom of the 10th inning if that's where we're at. But I feel it brings yes, it absolutely can lessen the amount of incredibly unneeded innings to get to a winner. But it adds a level of excitement that the game needs and that the younger generation craves. And we're not young and they are. They're going to watch baseball longer than we are, so baseball needs them more than they need us. They need everybody, but they need them more than they need us. And I think this helps speed it up. You can score quicker, and we don't have to spend a whole nother game hoping somebody scores to break a tie.
Oh, when I was a kid, I loved being out there all day, all night. that was the fun part.
You were playing.
Greg, it's because I wasn't playing. I was watching the pitcher. It's because the pitchers they're trained to throw as hard as they can for as long as they can, and they can't go more than several innings or these days one inning relievers. That's why they have this stupid rule. But by the way, I'm still against the DH, so you can't ask me.
Wow.
You can ask Len.
Wow. You want pitchers to hit?
Yeah. Why not?
I don't know. I don't know why. Like,
you have the bunt.
What's the history behind the designated hitter? Like, I know, National League lets the pitchers hit and American League doesn't, but why not? Why does that not join to the hip one way or the other?
Well, the history in 1973, there was the batting champion was Carl Yastrzemski with a very low, like 301, and they wanted to get more offense. So they used it as a 3-year experiment for the American League to try to boost the offense. And of course, like Glenn said, once you go there, you ain't going back. So it's been here ever since.
Do you like the designated hitter, Len?
Yeah, I'm fine with it. I wasn't, I'm such a National League fan, and they didn't have it. So anything that they wanted to change, I was against. But yeah, I'm okay with it with the DH. It's fine that the pitcher doesn't hit. Yeah, it's okay.
Barbecue related, guys, because the podcast is Baseball and Barbecue, hosted by Doug Scheiding, co-hosted by Len and Jeff. Anybody going to Pig Beach in a couple weeks?
We will be there.
Oh.
Pig Beach.
We will be there.
Right. How many years is this for you guys?
4, 5.
Wow.
It's their 6th, so I think
6th, right?
5th. Yeah. We had on the
because I missed it last year due to a family emergency, but Len went and he took his daughter in my place.
I'm going to just say for anyone who, first of all, on our last episode, we had Matt Abdu and Shane McBride from Pig Beach Barbecue in Astoria. Actually, Matt runs the Pig Beach in Florida, and Shane runs the one here in New York. But we had them on. I suggest people go listen to that. You'll find out what's going to go on at this event. That is a great event. It's just Pig Beach. It's for the Jeff Michener Foundation, so it goes towards charity. And that one day in New York is the epicenter of the barbecue universe. It is, got to say, the Pitmaster's there, Chris Lilly's there, Tuffy Stone is there, Amy Mills is there, John Marcus is there. It goes on and on and on. Michael Simon has been there. Rodney Scott has been there. It's just an incredible event.
Jeff, what do you like about it?
Just all the food options, and it just everything tastes so good, and it's so different. It's not your regular ribs and hamburgers and things. It is just gourmet food on a barbecue. It is just terrific.
How far away is that
And it's
from where you guys are at?
what, 45 minutes, I guess? Yeah.
Yeah, something like that.
Yeah.
It's
Depends on traffic.
it's in New York City though. But Astoria is very hard to park there. So we get there really early and try to get a parking space.
You don't Uber there?
Right.
That's too expensive to Uber.
Wait, what do you think?
Take the
We're
helicopter.
podcasters. We're not Joe Rogan.
They don't send a car for
podcasters.
you? I figure they send a limo for you and drive you up and back. I don't know. Last question before we go, guys. Appreciate the time. Len, have you knowingly steered away from beef as prices have continued to rise month after month?
I was actually steering away from beef before the prices were rising because I know it's not the healthiest thing. So I haven't been eating as much beef. Prices aren't helping any, but I am steering away from it now. A lot of chicken, a lot of pork. Although fish, which is expensive as well, but I feel it's much better for you. Salmon, tuna, things like that.
Jeff, have you decidedly gone away from beef because of price?
Yes.
Yes.
100%. We have pork chops at least once a week, and the price of pork chops for 2 pork chops is $4 or $5. It's good, and it tastes great. And I put some rubs on it from our favorite people, and it just tastes terrific. But yeah, chicken, pork, some fish once in a while. Yeah, I definitely I look at the beef prices. I go, I can't believe it. Do we have a cow shortage in this country? But pigs, we have plenty of pigs, but we must have a cow shortage.
Evidently, we have a cow shortage. So I've heard the experts say week in and week out. And there was something going on with one of those culling plants or processing plants too. I don't know if there was some disease, and they had to get rid of a whole bunch of meat animals. So a lot of bad things coming into confluence that are causing rise in price here, of course, aside from everything else that's going on. Len, who we have coming up on the podcast this coming week?
Oh, wow. I forget who's coming up. Smoke Freaks is this on coming up, and
yes,
I can't remember who the baseball guest is.
Jack Fritz. Jack Fritz. He's a broadcaster for the Philadelphia Phillies.
Oh,
right. Yeah. But we've had the last couple of weeks. We had Joe Davis, who's the voice of the Dodgers. He's the baseball announcer on Fox, and he's a huge barbecue fan. So we actually have Joe Davis talking about baseball and barbecue. That's an exciting. I love when a guest is in both areas,
Is he the Vin Scully replacement?
Yes.
Wow.
Yeah, he's Vin Scully's replacement, and he has made some major calls for the Dodgers. Loves to cook barbecue. So yeah, Joe Davis is a really good one.
You ever efforted Tom Hamilton?
Jeff?
No, they tried to get him yet. No.
Oh
no.
I'll listen to that episode. I swear.
All right. Tom Hamilton? I got to write that down.
I don't know if you know who he is, but he's the play-by-play, radio play-by-play guy for the Cleveland Guardians. Recently inducted into the Hall of Fame last year. So you can just add one other.
Yes, I know.
Yeah. So you can add one Hall of Famer, one more Hall of Famer to your list.
Speaking of Hall of Fame, Jeff and I will be speaking at the at Cooperstown at the symposium. We will be speaking at the National Baseball Hall of Fame in May. Very excited about that. It's a big honor.
Wow. So congratulations.
Yeah. Thank you. Thank you very much.
All right. Well, if you're not already, please subscribe to the Baseball and BBQ podcast, or BBQ, depending on how you say it. And you will hear Len and Jeff talk about both topics expertly. Gents, appreciate the time here this evening, and I'm glad baseball season. Maybe we don't wait until the end of the season. Maybe we do, a couple months check-in every now and again to see how the season's going and what other food topics we can muse on.
Sounds good to me.
All right, guys. We will talk to you then in a few months.
Thank you.
There they are. Len and Jeff, the Baseball and BBQ podcast. All right, so a little over there. Let me do a little catch-up. Jason Pettis referring back to the Would You Rather YouTube poll question of the week. There's dudes who actually make arrangements to watch their spouses have affairs. Yet not me, Jason. I believe those dudes are called swingers. By the way, the host of the Baseball and BBQ podcast, Doug Scheiding, as Len said, he would rather watch his wife have an affair than his parents. Doug, spouse, Len? That's an easy question to ask. But then he doubled down. Wild. All right, we're back to wrap the first hour right after this. Stick around. We'll be right back.
Continuing to produce incredibly mediocre content in an exceptionally professional way. You're listening and watching the Barbecue Central Show. Once again, here's your host, Greg Rempe.
Thanking Len and Jeff, Len Aberman, Jeff Cohen, at Baseball and BBQ on the social networks. You can find their podcast wherever you get podcasts. So we'll do an abridged get out, and then we'll come back for a quick top of the hour. For second hour, we'll set up the second hour, and then we'll get going. We're literally 10 minutes away from a Sam the Cooking Guy segment. So stick around, and we'll be right back.
You're listening to the Barbecue Central Show.